The Big 12 has all sorts of running back talent this year, some of them already proven, others anticipating breakout seasons. Let's go through the major backs in the Big 12 to get a feel for this year's talent level conference-wide and what to expect as a fan. As always, this video is sponsored by Last Stand Hats. Use promo code TexasHomer, all caps, for 10% off your hat purchase at laststandhats.com. Without further ado, let's get into it. Breece Hall had the most touches in the nation last year with 1,572 yards in only 12 games. Second in the nation in rushing touchdowns with 21. He was a crucial component to Iowa State's success and had the most touches in the nation with 279. He's number 1 or 2 on most people's NFL boards for the upcoming draft. Breece's touches went from 186 to 279 from his freshman to his sophomore year. Matt Campbell obviously saw Breece's ability and integrated him into the offense quickly. Iowa State is returning 94% of their offense, which ranks 5th in the nation and number 1 in the Big 12. Iowa State is returning a talented and deep offensive line, which allowed Breece to be the leading rusher last season. Brock Purdy will generally keep the offense on schedule, allowing Breece longer drives to showcase. And of course, Matt Campbell will continue to make an extreme effort to give Breece the ball whenever possible. Now, what makes Breece so dope? He ran a 4.43 in high school, so his speed is evident. Breece is a patient back, but once he sees his lane, he can accelerate to full speed in a matter of yards. He stays moving forward when evading and is efficient in his cuts. For all his movement, you'd think he was a smaller frame, but he's 6'1", 215. He does well in all types of run game. Due to his agility, he does really well off the tackles like outside zone, wide zone, all naturally suit Breece. But he is just as effective between the tackles and inside zone or a gap scheme. It's hard to catch him in traffic due to his forward momentum in and out of his cuts. We will add the preseason games back to the schedule this year. Matt Campbell will better know how to optimize his usage, and Breece will be motivated by being the first back off the board in the NFL draft. I expect to see big numbers and improved efficiency out of Breece. Excellent running back on a team in a good situation to maximize his talent. The pieces of the puzzle are there for Breece and the Iowa State offense. OU made a lot of noise in the transfer portal this offseason after losing TJ Pleasure to Utah, but people seem to have forgotten about Kennedy Brooks. He set out the 2020 season, but in 2018 he rushed for 1,056 yards on only 119 attempts, averaging 8.9 yards per carry. In 2019, Jalen Hurts took a bulk of the rushing carries as the leading rusher. Kennedy still rushed for 1,011 yards, averaging 6.5 yards per carry. His numbers might drop only due to scheme. He might split carries due to a new addition from the transfer portal. The portal addition was Eric Gray from Tennessee. In 2019, he rushed for 246 yards in a single game, the most in the entire SEC for the 2019 season. He was trending up at Tennessee as a sophomore, getting several starts. He had middling stats compared to the SEC, like he ranked 6th in yards per game, 8th in rushing yards, but Tennessee looked abysmal and schematically inept during this time. I expect Gray to improve considerably in a well-functioning offensive system with a stable program around him in his junior season. Gray and Brooks could complement each other quite nicely. OU grabbed another transfer in Trey Bradford, Texas kid out of the 2020 class at LSU. Not much to go off here because he's so young, but OU clearly has been stacking that running back room. It'll be interesting to see who ends up with the most yards out of OU's back, since they might be in a 2-back set or splitting time. OU is extremely dedicated to the run and needs that as a driving force to layer the rest of their offense upon. Now let's take a look at a very intriguing player in Bijan Robinson at Texas. For non-Texas fans, you can see last year's stat line and be unimpressed. Only 703 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. But once again, you need the full story here. It was only 86 attempts, meaning a true freshman was averaging 8.2 yards per carry. That's low attempts, but it's intriguing. Steve Sarkisian always has a 1,000-yard rusher. Last year it was Najee Harris at Bama. Najee was second in the nation with 251 touches, only behind Breece Hall. Bijan needs to be used consistently, and Sarkisian's new scheme at Texas matches that to a T, and the offense will be able to build around Bijan both in the run and the pass game. Bijan has the best shot to explode onto the national scene due to him being artificially restricted in carries last season with a new head coach ready to use him ad nauseum. Texas also added a hybrid back from Alabama in Bijan Robinson. Extremely explosive and fast, he gives you options in the backfield as well as opportunities to get into two-back sets, where both backs are capable of scoring and not just one lead blocking for the other. Sarkisian specifically wanted explosive playmakers, so Keelan will definitely be added to the game plan. Kansas State had a pleasant surprise in true freshman Deuce Vaughn coming onto the scene. Deuce was first in the nation of true freshmen, putting up 1,076 scrimmage yards. He put up 400 yards receiving and 600 yards rushing, only matched by Travis Etienne and Najee Harris last year. Deuce is electric, and it's made even more impressive by his height of 5'5". He is considerably smaller than everyone on the field, yet he darts and weaves through them all. Deuce Vaughn is a unique college talent that is equally deadly in the run and the pass game. You can scheme him all over this field, including the slot, which I saw Kansas State utilize. This is a #1 player you can rely on if you're coaching at K-State. The coaches there scheme up all sorts of things for Deuce, and truly his usage makes him a hybrid running back receiver. Expect Deuce to be even more of a feature in this year's offense, as they have had all offseason to dream up unique ways to use this back. West Virginia and Neil Brown are still trying to put it together on offense, but Letty Brown was an offensive bright spot to a gloomy 2020 season. Letty played in only 10 games, but he rushed for over 1,000 yards, averaging over 100 yards per game while taking a high percentage of offensive touches. He decided to return for his senior season, and that added stability will ensure Letty Brown gets more design touches this upcoming season. West Virginia has yet to establish a top-tier quarterback, meaning Brown's production on the ground is less of a risk currently to a coach when deciding an offense or a strategy. He almost broke the 200-yard mark against Kansas with 195 yards. So could Letty have his first 200-yard performance in his final season? If Letty is able to improve his efficiency in his final year, he's going to have a great season. TCU was the #1 rushing offense in the Big 12 last year at 214 yards per game with a stable of backs. But Zack Evans is the most intriguing potential starter. Zack Evans was the #2 running back in the nation coming out of high school in 2020, only behind Bijan Robinson. He had some behavioral issues and major programs backed off of him, allowing TCU to get their highest rated prospect ever. I expect Zack to be a staple of the TCU offense in the coming years, and hopefully he receives more touches and doesn't have to share with too many backs. Zack Evans could be poised for a Big 12 breakout, especially since TCU looks to be much improved from last year. Letty Brown appears to be the lead back for Oklahoma State after Hubbard went pro. Oklahoma State loves to run, and any featured back at OK State can put up considerable yards. There's a lot of depth and experience at OK State competing currently for the spot, so we have to see who emerges as the top back in Stillwater. Letty Brown seems most likely at this point. Texas Tech will start SaRodorick Thompson. He averaged 5.6 yards last season and only got 109 carries. Texas Tech loves to pass, so touches tend to be limited, and not a great situation for breakout simply due to the scheme. I expect SaRodorick Thompson to be a dependable back for Tech though. Baylor and Kansas are still trying to figure it out after their programs cratered last season. Baylor has some depth and a promising young back like Craig Williams. Kansas could utilize Velton Gardner or Daniel Hishaw, but there's a lot to be seen running back wise from both of these programs, so we'll just have to keep an eye on both of them. As you can see, the Big 12 has an exciting group of backs this year, and you should expect to see running back talent week in and week out. Watch some more of my videos here, and don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, hook 'em.